Hello and welcome back to the S.H.E Gallery show. We are here today with our special guest, Brian Evans. Brian, thank you for being with us today. So please remember that you are live with us tonight, and you can call us directly at any time throughout the segment at 312-738-1060. And you can always reach out to us directly through our website, sharinghisenergygallery.net. You can email us, you can call us, and you can always contact all of our previous guests and tonight's guest through our website as well. So tonight we were going to have our original guest was going to be Salvador DJ Greedy Garcia. And unfortunately, somebody that we all grew up with, Greg Gaunt's mother, passed away. So our condolences to his family, and much respect to DJ Greedy for being there, supporting his family as well. That's one beautiful thing about growing up together in the community. We all grow up together, and we all watch each other grow, and we support each other. And tonight's show is still a little bit about that, and it still revolves very much so around S.H.E Gallery. So one of the things about DJ Greedy was he's a DJ that I grew up with. Back in the day when we used to throw parties, we were in party productions. I was a part of Girly Girl production with Melly, Araceli, Nana. Then there was Boy Girl production. A lot of the older air crew. There was Vessel. There was Vone. There was Mikey, rest in peace, Junebug. Vision production, Joe Trauma, Willie Estrada. There's so many people involved during this age where we all used to get a venue, get awesome DJs such as DJ Greedy, DJ Fire, some other older DJs, and we used to have parties, and that's what we did. So when I realized that I didn't have enough money to have a gallery, I took those roots and I took those concepts and I did that. Get a venue, get your artist promoted. Of course, we don't charge for that. We do this for the love of the art. And somebody that I have a lot of respect for has been Brian Evans, who's better known as B, because B served as a great platform to many through this movement. So like me growing up, I was a preteen, teenager, very early 90s, having these parties. And what I saw was these parties turning into underground galleries. And then it got real serious. And then we lost all that. So I'm going to hand it over to Brian and talk to us a little bit more about how you played such an important part during this movement.
I had 54B Gallery, and that started in about 2008 to 2011. I grew up around gangs and graffiti. I liked being a criminal. I liked expressing myself. Through doing both, I went to art school and I became a repo man. I repossessed buildings for the bank, became the property manager of the buildings. Once I realized I wasn't going to be a great artist, like the normal, the mill, I didn't finish school or anything, I decided to take the money that I had and found an empty 3-flat, and I started the 54B Gallery. The 54B Gallery was an open venue for building community at a time where we really didn't have much going on, and letting people really showcase their work.
Mm-hmm. And that's just here in our neighborhood, in the Pilsen neighborhood. That's just over on Halsted, right? Cermak?
It was Cermak and Halsted, or down the block from the bar, across the street from the liquor store, building with the big dragon and the silver door, 21st, 2128 South Halsted.
We're trying to pull it up for you here. It's really hard to see, but
I think they took the dragon down only 2 years ago.
Let's see if we could pull it back up. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so some of you are familiar with this building. It's now like a beauty salon or something like that. But before this was a beauty salon, this was the place that helped build a lot of platform for a lot of local artists. So tell us a little bit more about what happened at Gallery 54B.
54B, I opened the doors to anybody who wanted to get involved. And I reached out to everybody that I knew growing up that had artistic talents that I felt should be further expressing that. The first show we had was a model train show. We built like a 12 by 12 table, and we had 60 graffiti artists from past and present
And this is like the graffiti movement, right? Like the innovative graffiti
Yeah,
movement.
before
the graffiti type of art.
before street art, it was just
Real graffiti
art on streets, and you didn't have a name for it,
Mm-hmm.
And so we got all these people from past and present together, and we had a show called the Chicago Connection, and that really excelled at everything to start doing monthly shows and weekly shows and having concerts and getting the cops called on us.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about the connection between the graffiti and the train? What's this big important connection between graffiti and train?
Well, when I was growing up, I pretty much lived on the train tracks, and when I was younger, I would take the 54B, which 54B was the train yard in Cicero, and also it was the Cicero Avenue bus that would go down to the mall where I would get fat laces over on like 87th and Cicero, and by getting on the train and going through the city, you get to see so much more than you would at any other time. Like who actually gets to go on rooftops and look down on the whole skyline? You don't get that. And then people were painting all on these rooftops. So when I was a kid, my first interaction with actual art, like I didn't go to museums. We didn't. My school didn't even have an art class. So
your school didn't even have an art class.
Yeah, they eventually got one. It was in the boiler room.
Wow.
Like no sports or nothing. So like at a young age, like gang banging and graffiti were like the sports, and like that's what we had.
Yeah. What neighborhood was this?
I grew up in Cicero, and then I lived all throughout doing a repo, but it was from Cicero, and 54B was on the bus the CTA bus on Cicero Avenue that went south. And also the train yard on 54 was called the 54B train yard for everybody that was in the know. Back when the blue line was, back before the pink line was the blue line, and they called it the Douglas line.
Chicago history, y'all. So that's where the name comes from, 54B. Can you show us your tattoo? I don't know if you could see it. That's some passion, man.
The homie G-Tech.
Oh, it'll be backwards. What is it?
G-Tech?
Yes, G-Tech is another innovator graffiti artist from the city. Saw Crew?
Yes. CM Dub Saw Crew.
Yes, so he did that. He did the tattoo?
Yeah, he did like several of my tattoos, actually.
Props to G-Tech. So who are some artists that you have worked with? I know that now, like a lot of them, they're doing great things. You have Mario Zor Gonzalez. You have Rada that's doing his thing with his people. Who are some other artists that you've worked with? And how does meeting of styles take into place? Because I remember personally being there for a couple of shows and actually having my own art there and being there for some of the most bestest meeting of styles that we've probably ever had and will probably never see again. It was really legendary. Can you talk to us a little bit more about those gatherings?
When I had
and explain what Meeting of Styles is for those who don't know.
Meeting of Styles is an international graffiti exposition that starts in, I believe, Germany, then goes through Europe,
that's where
to America, and then to South America. And when it's in North America, it goes from New York to Chicago, Texas, LA, and then through Mexico. While I was in Chicago, I got involved 2008, and I had a big backyard, so I built a stage. I built 80 feet of wall and invited everybody to come and paint. We had some great artists, Nerd, X-Men, Steph, X-Men, Rafa, Hyde, S.H.E from San Francisco. He's the one who did the painting on the building of the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yes, I remember.
We had people like Vile One from California, and it was just a big meeting that I just let everybody in and made sure nobody hurt nobody, and it always went off pretty well, at least in there.
Yeah, and then there was always music as well. There was like some live performances,
we had
free flowing.
We had blues bands. We had one time I had a bunch of clairvoyants all sit around the fire. That was really drum circles. But
yes.
For the Meeting of Styles, we had Greedy, Fire, Muse. We all had them DJing, and then we'd have other performances from Shy Rock Nation. And one big proponent that always came through was Demonology.
Demon, yes.
And
he's another great Chicago artist.
And then also I Am Crew, Air Crew, Cesar Perez, Twos, and a whole lot more. I'm not too good with names anymore.
That's fine. And then sadly, Gallery 54B came to an end. When did 54 Gallery B come to an end, and what happened after that, and why did it come to an end?
So I was a repo man. I repossessed buildings for the bank, became the property manager of buildings. I would have anywhere from 10 to 20 buildings at a time, a very high stress, dangerous job. And so I never really, and then I had a gallery, so I was pretty much working like 24 hours a day,
Yeah. And he did.
not paying attention to my health. And I found out the hard way that I had a rip in my heart. And I knew I was getting fatigued, but I didn't put much to it. And then it all just got to me, and I had to close the gallery. And within like 3 months is when I actually died. And I fell into a coma for a while, but it just was getting too much for me. And I'm not actually realizing why.
So you had all of these signs, and obviously your body was telling you, hey man, take care of me. So you did, right? And this was life-altering for you?
Yeah, well, one thing I would recommend is people to notice the signs when you're not feeling well. I just thought I had back pains and fatigue, but it was actually, my heart was ripping like 5 centimeters by the time I came out of a show. I walked down to the bar. I thought I was having like an anxiety attack. I never had an anxiety attack, but I figured that's what one was. And all my friends were like, "Are you all right? You need to go to the hospital?" I'm like, "No, I just need to go home and sleep." And that's when like the pains really started happening. By the time I got to the emergency room, I couldn't walk. They told me I was 80% dead, and I fell into a coma for like 3 weeks.
I remember that. I actually remember that. I was around when that happened. I remember when Gallery 54B closed, and then his many other encounters that he had with his health and very near-death experiences. Like he said, he actually was technically dead for a little while, and that awoke him and it gave him a new opportunity. And it was that experience that led him eventually to a new life, an entire new life in Maui, Hawaii.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit more about your new life there.
After I had to deal with all that for about a year and a half or so, getting it right from there, I had a few other instances that the universe was telling me, just figure it out. You know, you need a change of pace, a change of place. And I had the opportunity to move to Maui, and I got rid of everything I had, and I moved out there. And I've been living in the jungle out there for about 4 or 5 years now.
And you built your own house?
I built my own house on the side of a cliff. And
I'm trying to show you the picture. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I stay in a place called Haiku, and it rains like almost all the time, and it's just beautiful avocado trees, mango trees, bananas, papaya, like you name it, it's right there. And I've never seen anything like that before in my life, so I just kind of assimilated into there. I grew a beard, and that was about it. Got a shovel.
But then you initially continued to work there, or at least you had at least one art show out in Maui or in Hawaii. You brought some art there.
Before I was at an art center in Bridgeport before I moved out there, and before I realized I was moving, I got in contact with the Burning Man people out there. And I got involved. I got involved with a festival called Source that's no longer happening. But through there, I met the whole art community that lives out there, and so I've been in contact and doing stuff ever since. Okay. Doing a lot of live art and showed my work at a few places.
Here we are. I wanted to show you guys. This is really cool. He built his own house. Look at that.
Yeah, that's about 30 feet up in the air on the tree line and about 20 feet below the grass line. So you have to walk downstairs to get to it. And it was like, wild. I dug out like 10 by 20, just side of a cliff, and started building.
Wow.
And then I lofted off a bedroom area too. All that's from like found material and about $400.
Wow.
And I had a balcony and a work set up, and then I think about it, last year we didn't have rain for a while in the wintertime, and it got real big winds, and I was making a sandwich and the bun kept flying off, and I'd go and get the bun and I'm walking back to my place, and then the second time it blew off and I got it, I see a avocado tree just swaying, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really moving, you know?
Yeah,
and then boom, it fell and my house tilted.
Wow.
And then I was like, all right, I need to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And then I moved behind a mountain in a place called Kaupo, and I lived in the yurt. I just like corral horses and goats and like yeah we dressed deer and boar. It was
That is
quite a different experience than what I had
totally
before.
different. And now you have a really aside from your love and your art that you'll continue to do, and you continue to stay involved with the arts after 54B here, and before you went to Maui, I know you did some stuff with Tiger Styles out in Cicero, and then you started out there, and that's never going to leave you. But now you're also exploring this holistic practice. Is that right? What kind of work are you doing now also in Maui?
So like when I first got out there, I was building the house and just living there, and I'm like,
Very holistic after leaving the city. Wow.
I should probably get a job or something and meet people, you know.
Or something.
So I went down to went down to a town called Paia, and they have this like just the greatest health food store you've ever been to, and like I decided to get a job there, and then so I was able to learn about being like actually healthy, taking mushroom extracts and essential oils and all of this stuff. And so I got whatever I could out of there, and then I went back into doing construction for people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Calpo, and then now I work as a maintenance man at a place at this holistic retreat center hotel. It's like being on vacation every day. I do yoga and breathing meditations and qigong. Sound healing, sound baths with crystals and like copper gongs and stuff, and
That's really awesome.
I take care of about 12 chickens out there, and they got a bunch of chicks. I miss them right now.
Oh, that's the holistic way of living. That's the healthy way of living. Working with energies, with the crystals that he mentions, and the music tunes, with yourself. That's when you're really in tune with yourself, with the universe, and you can really heal and allow the universe to help you heal. And that's really special. So he's been able to do all that he loves through the arts and through your health. And hopefully you get better. So now he lives in Hawaii, but you came to Chicago, and we're just so happy that you're here with us today. It's really good to see you.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And hopefully we'll see you again in the future. Hopefully you could come back and work with S.H.E Gallery. I'd be completely honored. I have a lot of respect for B, like we call him Brian, we call him B, because I seen him bust his butt when he had that gallery from that first show to the last show. I remember that. And they were really, truly special shows. And we see the platform that he's built for so many of these artists that the community knows, but they don't know where they came from. And they don't know the influences and how real graffiti played such a great influence to this major street art form, which is really special. So we do have some upcoming segments where we also talk with some other graffiti innovators. So we're very excited about that, to continue to show the story, to talk about the story, to talk directly with the artists that started this entire movement that we're all reaping from, and they're still doing it. Some of them are still doing it. So that's really how S.H.E Gallery had started. When my business for art class was like, and my teacher in that class told me, well, what kind of business do you want to have? I'm like, I don't want to do anything with business. I had these dreams and I'm following my dreams. I don't know. This is like, my dreams tell me I need to be here, so I need to be here. And I just trust that. And then, really had to think what really upset me. And, really think about, if I could have my own business, what would it be? And I'm like, I love the arts. And like I said, I started with this when I was very young, with the street, just with the party productions turned into underground galleries. And then I started going to these other galleries that were bringing in graffiti artists, but they were not locals. Suddenly I was seeing people getting very rich of the culture I grew up in. And it was very disturbing. So I said, okay, if I had a dream and I could do anything, I'd want to have a gallery. And I'd want to give voice and show the real innovators, the ones that brought this movement. Whether we get rich or not, that's fine. But we want to share the story, because I think that cultivating culture is really important. And that's a big part of what S.H.E Gallery does. We're also working on some upcoming solo exhibitions at the end of this year with Piloto and with artist Red. And then we are also working next year on we have a caller.
Hi, my question is for your guest. I just wanted to ask what he saw as some of the major differences between the art scene in Chicago and the art scene in Hawaii.
The art scene in Hawaii is a lot of palm trees and sunsets and sunrises. It's because tourist based, so you have a lot of that. If you're trying to go for a specific crowd, a lot of times there's a lot of good abstract and expressionism out there. A lot of really good art's coming out of there, but the actual art scene, there isn't much of an art scene per se, unless you go to tourist towns for it. Like there's more and more underground things that have arts in it, but not an actual like art scene. In Chicago, it's everything about it is totally different from whatever art scene you want to be around it with, in whatever area.
Okay. Yeah, that's an important question. I wanted to show there was something in here you had your art hanging on your trees, which was really cool. But we're having a hard time
That's
connecting.
probably way down there.
Okay.
I had got involved with really it's a lot of live painting and parties out there to bring. That's the only way you can get people out because there's so much other stuff to do besides
Not going to-
conjugate together. Like when they ask me like, what I do out there, I'm like I just look at the ocean. Sometimes I go in, I watch
Yeah.
the clouds go by. The party is wherever you're at, and since it's such a outside environment, the arts are usually more interpretive arts, dance and music, and accompanied by painting and whatnot.
It sounds like you get the whole packet. You get to be completely entirely with all of the elements, so you can really find yourself and really, make art that way. Just through yourself, through your own tunes, through your own meditations, and find whatever it is that you find when you get there, mentally in that state of mind. I couldn't find that image, but yeah. So thank you, caller, for that question and for the call. And I think we're just wrapping up. I want to thank you so much again for being with us tonight. Like I mentioned, we have the performance art. We're working on a performance art, our first performance art event in March of 2018. That'll likely be at it's tentatively scheduled at the National Museum of Mexican Art. So that's really exciting to be able to showcase their being from Pilsen, growing up in the neighborhood, and being able to give opportunity to these local artists that I grew up with personally, and to continue to showcase this history. So that our performance art show is going to revolve around. It's going to be a little bit of all that S.H.E Gallery has done so far, which is touching a little bit on innovating the innovating street graffiti movement and how it's paved way. And we'll touch on immigration from Espiritu Monarca, Celebrity Memoirs, womanhood, and solar system, what connects us all and what makes us all so divine. Thank you again so much for being with us. Thank you, Brian. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
again next week.